All right, so in this lesson, what we're going to be talking about is specifically the stages and how you use those stages and labels so that you can manage your conversations better. And so we already talked about our chat flow, right? So the different stages that we have when managing conversations within WhatsApp. So you have your prospecting stage, conversion, retention, and customer support. And so what we'll do in this lesson is talk about more details about these four stages and also like the different things that you're going to be using within those stages, right? Your timeline, activities, tags, questions, messages, and best practices in using those stages, and also an example so that you can see how we've used the labels with customers so that there's better organization and management and just coordination among your team to see where your leads are, right? And so the four stages that we've talked about so far is prospecting, conversion, retention, and customer support. So what are those four stages? And so the first one that we're going to talk about is the prospecting stage. And we talk about prospecting within a WhatsApp or a chat conversation. You're at the top of your funnel. You want to establish a conversation with the customer, and what you're really trying to hope to achieve here is to really understand your customer needs and see if they're actually a good fit for your business. I think one of the things that we've seen with businesses is that people are scared of asking the right questions, right? And so you end up having a long conversation with your customer, but in the end, you don't really know if you should spend time trying to convince them to buy your products. You don't know if they're a good fit. You haven't really understood like their needs. And so what we want to make sure in this stage is to really understand what are your customers looking for, and is my product the right fit for what they're looking for, right? Is there a pain point? Does my product meet their need? And so what you really want to do here is evaluate and qualify your customers. And that's key in this stage. If you're talking about real estate, for example, try to understand what they're looking for, what kind of apartments, what price range, when they're trying to buy. If you're talking about if you're a restaurant, well, send them the menu. See if they like the foods. Ask them if they want to buy something from you, and I think that's the key here is understanding what they're looking for, so you can ask that question so they can buy from you. The next stage that we want to talk about is a conversion stage. And this is where you went from having an opportunity to having a lead. And this is where, we want to convert them into paying customers, and eventually have them become revenue generating customers, right? Like this is where we're going to have a sale when it comes to, like, if you're in e-commerce or if you're doing social commerce. But if you're in real estate, if you're a clinic, if you're a doctor trying to get appointments, this is where you want to get your appointment, schedule it, and also send them reminders so that you can convert them to customers, right? So these leads, this is where I want to convert them into becoming customers. Someone could have scheduled an appointment to go see an apartment. They could have scheduled an appointment for the clinic, but unless they don't go to your place, they're still a lead. They're not your customers yet. With restaurants and with social commerce, it's easier here because you can convert them through the chat, right? So I can send them a link to pay directly on an external website, or even through different means. But this is where I want to convert customers. And what's key here at the conversion stage is that sometimes you can't close that sale or that conversion through a chat. You might have to make a call and call them and try to finalize that sale with your customers. The third stage is retention, right? So I've made my sale, people have bought from me, and now they're my customers. So now I want to nurture them with post-sales messages. I want to, bring things that bring their attention so that there's a better engagement and interaction with your brand, right? See how your service went, understand if there was a problem with your product. I've seen restaurants sending a message a day after that you deliver the food, and just a simple message of saying like, hey, how was the food? Like, was everything okay? So a simple message will keep customers coming back. And I think that's very important here. If you're a clinic, you might want to send a message saying like, hey, well, how was your appointment yesterday? Was there any issues? Is there any follow-up that we can help you with? So this is just like good customer, retention practices that you can do, and it's going to help you increase your revenue as well, and just bring a better customer experience overall. And the last stage is your customer support. And this is a little trickier because it can happen at the beginning or at the end, right? But this is where people ask for random questions, or questions you don't really know if they're an opportunity, you don't know if they're a lead or a customer. But these are more customer support claims, or tickets, from current or potential customers. If someone bought something from you, they might have a question from you. If you're a clinic, and they're doing certain services with you like on a recurring basis, then things that they might need help with. If you sold them a product online, through your chat, and you've delivered it already, they have it, they're using it, but they have a question about how to use the product. This is where you want to have your customer support tickets, and this is where we like to call it tickets, so that it's easier to differentiate it. And this is where you're building trust with your customers or potential users, where you're really solving questions. And so, when we talk about that process, what we like to say is, again, you have your prospecting, your conversion, retention, or customer support. You have your 4 stages, right? And you have different things that you want to do within that time frame. And so the reason why we have a process in place is because whenever we are able to have a process, you can replicate it among your team, right? So your team knows that what steps they need to follow, and what are the things that they need to follow, so that you have a better management of all of your conversations. And so the way we like to see it is that we have a timeline, right? So a timeline is basically how long you want to keep each customer or conversation at this stage. You don't want to spend a month prospecting someone, right? You don't want to spend, even like 45 days, like trying to convert someone. There's limits into how long you want your team effort to put into trying to convert that person, and try to, change them from stage to stage. And I think this is very important, because you define them how to manage those conversations. And so this is going to help you also in not having 300 conversations open, because once you realize 200 out of those 300 conversations have more than 45 days. And so by that point, like, the probability that you're going to be able to do something with those customers are very low. And so a timeline, what it does is, it allows your agents or team members to know when to drop conversations, and when to drop them, so that they don't spend time, their precious time, on leads or opportunities or users that are just not worth it, right? Your objectives, it tells your team what are they trying to accomplish, and what do they need to do to move the user to the next stage, right? And what activities do I need to do in order to move users to the next stage? So when do I move them from being a prospect to a lead or a conversion, right? Like, at what point do I send them as a lost conversation? And my tags, what we've seen that tags help with is in managing those users, right? I can tag people as they move along my funnel, so that if I have someone just managing customer support tickets, then they can just see that tag and manage specifically those users. Same thing, if I have important messages that I wanna manage, that I wanna respond quicker, then by using those tags, it's just easier to organize your WhatsApp. And tools that you can use in WhatsApp at each stage, right? What tools can I use to send a mass message to all the people that are my customers? If I have a new offer, for example, how do I send it? And what are best practices to do that? And so it's key to have that process in place, because it's going to help you organize your conversation, but also organize your team. It's going to allow them to see where conversations are at, what conversations do they need to follow up with, what conversations are not worth it because you've already lost them, right? And it's going to tell you also, help you see the number of conversations at each stage of your funnel. And so the way we like to manage and organize our WhatsApp conversations is through this process. A process is important because it's going to allow your team to, one, know where leads are, two, understand how to manage conversations better, and not be overwhelmed with so many conversations within their WhatsApp. And so the way we like to split this is, you still have your same stages, right? You have prospecting, conversion, retention, customer support, but then we like to put a name to the user, right? If someone's at a prospecting stage, we like to call them opportunity. Conversion, we have leads. Retention, customer, and customer support tickets. And this is how we're gonna split our conversations within WhatsApp, and I'll show you an example afterwards. But this is important to know and understand where also your bottlenecks within your WhatsApp are, right? And so we're going to have a timeline for each stage, and this is going to determine how long should your team members or salespeople spend within that conversation at each stage. This is going to vary because for real estate, for example, or a doctor clinic, the timeline is not going to be the same as a restaurant. For a restaurant, this should be very quickly. You should be able to process orders very quickly. But if you're a clinic, if you're real estate, then this is going to vary by a lot, I would say. And so in general, you want to be able to prospect your opportunities or new conversations within 2 days, right? And what I want to do within those 2 days is send them the necessary information so that they respond and I can actually qualify and see if they're actually interested. I want to be able to start scheduling appointments. I want to be able to give them my contact information and actually have them save that number so that I can send them information back. If they don't send information, if they don't save your number, you won't be able to send them info back. You want to have them join your WhatsApp group as well if you have a newsletter that you're sending every week or every month. And so you're going to have objectives within each stage. The same thing with the conversion. I want to confirm an appointment, make a purchase, make an order, right? I want to try to finally convert that user. And I want to ask them, within the retention, once people buy from you, I want to ask for customer satisfaction. And this is key. Like, retention is key if you want to keep growing your business. And how did everything go, right? You want to have them join a WhatsApp group just for customers, where I can broadcast an offer. If I have specific offers that I can send just to customers, I can do that through my WhatsApp group, and your open rate and it's going to just be higher, right? And for your customer support tickets, well, you're going to have them answer frequently asked questions about products and services and guide them to the prospecting stage if you see that this is a new conversation that is not related to a customer support ticket, but actually is an opportunity. And same thing with activities. What are the things that they should be doing, right? Is sending the key questions to understand their needs, showing leads their catalog with products. And, this is an important thing as well, is that we've seen that WhatsApp, not all businesses work just with conversations. Sometimes you actually have to make a call in order to be able to move that customer to the next stage. And I know that support and team members or salespeople sometimes are shy about making calls. It's so much easier to just have a conversation within WhatsApp. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to convert and sell. And so if you want to increase your sales, you have to use calls in combination with messages as well. And so, if you're prospecting, sometimes if the customer doesn't respond, you might want to have and jump on a call with them to better understand their needs. If you're a restaurant, you might not have to do that. But if you're a clinic, if you are into real estate, you might want to do that so that you can actually convert users as well. Same thing with conversion, right? You want to have messages, you want to have calls, you want to be able to finalize that purchase or that conversion with your users, and you have all those different activities within the stages, right? You can use broadcasting, you can ask for feedback, you want to use one message a month, and this is what we've seen here that works as well with regards to customer retention. And the tools that you'll be using within each stage, These are the things that you can actually use from WhatsApp Business so that you can improve your experience, right? So greeting message, away message, labels, catalog, group chat, broadcast, and these are all the things that you'll be using to better understand and manage your leads. And the tags or labels, and this is, I think, the most important thing about how we really like to manage our WhatsApp with our customers and why it works. Because by using tags for each stage, you have a much better organization within your WhatsApp, and you'll see example afterwards of how we use this, right? And so like the way we like to see this is we just have like an opportunity, two tags for each stage. So you have opportunity open, opportunity closed, lead open, and lead closed. And for customer, you're going to have just one because either they're customers or they're not. They could be customers with a new ticket, right? They could be customers with a new opportunity, but they're always going to be customers. That's not going to change. And then you're going to have important tags or labels here that are going to allow you to highlight conversations that maybe need additional support, that might need support from a manager. And so it's easier to see important conversations in this way as well. And so make sure you download our process. We're constantly updating it, and you're going to be able to download an Excel sheet that you can download. You can adapt it to your needs and change it so that it's easier to manage your conversations and use it within your business as well. And so labels, and I think this is an important part of how we really like to manage conversations and why it works. And so with labels, what I mentioned before is you're going to have a label for each stage, right? So we have opportunity, leads, customers, and tickets. And those are my four stages. You can use different colors, but we like to use these colors right here. You're going to have for each stage an open and a closed opportunity. We like to use green, a green book and a red book, because this allows you to visually select the right label and allow your team to select the right label as well. And so as you can see here, you have opportunity open, opportunity closed, leads open, leads closed, customer important, tickets open, tickets closed. And you're going to have also additional labels for important conversations. So at each stage, I can have an opportunity open with an important conversation, a lead open with an important conversation, and the same thing with tickets open. And I also have reasons as to why I lost that conversation or that user at each stage, right? So if I could have an opportunity closed, but I also want to know why we lost it, right? Was it because people didn't respond? Was it a price thing? Was it just the wrong profile that people didn't match? What the type of user that usually buys my products? Did they go to the competition? Or any other reason as to why people didn't end up converting or buying from you. This is going to allow you to count and see how many users you have at each stage and why are you losing users at each stage, right? So it's going to be easier to say, well, I have 27 leads that were closed and 20% of them are wrong profile, but 50% are price. So there must be an issue with my price. What things can I do to change to see what am I doing wrong, right? So you want to have labels for reasons as to why you lost each conversation. And so those are the key things that we like to see and use for our labels, right? You're going to have an opportunity open, opportunity closed, lead open, lead closed, customer, because you're going to have just one, right? Important ones, ticket open, ticket closed, and reasons as to why you lost that conversation. And so this is, I think, in a nutshell, the most important thing about the whole chapter and lessons. And this is, I would say, fundamental in that it's going to help you, one, understand better what things are working and what things are not working. How many users are you losing at each stage and why? And I think the why is very important so you can actually make better strategic decisions as to how you manage your conversations better, where your bottlenecks are, and just how to improve the results that you're having for your business. And so this is just a quick example, right, as to how this would work. And so you would have an opportunity open, right? This is someone that sent us a message and said like, hi, I would like more information. So they're at my prospecting stage. They're an opportunity. So I'm going to tag them with two tags, right? Opportunity open. And maybe this is an important conversation because this is someone who I know, and they've been looking for, renting an apartment for a while. And so I'm going to label them as important. And this is just a new conversation, right? The next thing is the prospecting, right? So I want to start prospecting that user. I want to start understanding their needs. So, hi there, what are you looking for? I'm looking for an apartment in this zone, 2 bedrooms. Great. Are you looking for buying or renting? Renting. You have a price range in mind between 800 to 900. Awesome. Here are a list of options, right? So I use my catalog to send them a couple of options. If you have too many options, then you can also use links from websites, and I think we've seen that works really well as well. If you're a restaurant, I can send them the menu, for example. But if you look at the conversation, it's very specific questions that I'm asking for, right? Like, what are you looking for? Like, this is an open question. But then it goes down to specifics, like, are you looking for buying or renting? What's your price range? And this allows you to really direct the conversation where you want to lead that user, right? You want to get it as much information as possible so that you can really see and say, hey, it's worth spending my time in trying to convince this user to actually come with us, right? So I'm just prospecting at this stage. I'm just trying to understand what are their needs and how can I help them better so that I can convert them to a lead, right? And with real estate, what I want to do is, when are you able to see them? Like next Monday at 2 p.m. Great, I'll send you a reminder. See you then. Um, and so this is just how we would manage that conversation, right? So I take out the opportunity open tag and I send them to lead open, because now they're not an opportunity, they're a lead. They're still important, so I'm keeping that tag. And so I want to be able to finalize this conversion. So I'm trying to, these are someone who already understood their needs. I'm trying to actually get them to rent a place. So, but because I want them to rent, I need them to go see the place. I need to schedule the appointments. I need to send them reminders. This is everything that's happening at the lead stage, right? And let's say after I'm actually able to show them the place, how did you like the place? Well, thanks, but I think we're looking for something cheaper. Unfortunately, we don't have anything below that price, but I'll keep you posted. So this is someone who just doesn't qualify anymore for the products that we have, right? So I'm going to move them from lead open to lead closed and also to price, because the reason why they didn't buy or rent from me was price, right? They're not an open opportunity, or they're not an open conversation anymore. It's a closed conversation, so I don't need to do anything else now, but I know it's price. And this is important because if I want to look then for, let's say you find a new place that you want to rent, and you're looking for people who didn't qualify for the other ones, I can just filter it by price and I'll find everyone who didn't buy because of price. And how? Well, I just look for lead closed and price. I filter that within my WhatsApp, and actually I can actually then send a broadcast to everyone who has price. So I select everyone who has price and I send a broadcast to all of them. So this is a really good way to manage your conversations and how it actually work, right? So I went from having an opportunity open, important, to a lead open. So I changed it from open to lead, still important, to closed, right? Obviously, this was pretty quickly because it's an example, but this is going to take some time. It's going to take some days. But this is a really good way for you to be able to manage your conversations and see what's working and what's not. So again, this is the process that you want to use in order to manage your conversations so that you get better results, you're better organized, your team knows how to do, what to do, and when to keep conversations open and at what point to close those conversations. It's going to save you time. It's going to allow your team members to communicate better and to really know who to follow up with and who not to keep spending your precious time or your team's precious times within that user or that conversation. So keep in mind that the process will shift depending on the type of business that you are. But in general, this process should work regardless of the type of business that you are, and you want to start implementing it now. You want to start using tags and developing and defining those stages and that process that will help your team just perform better.